Camp 100%. This is, yeah? We're going in here 100%. I'm going into this fight 100% Conor McGregor, not 92. 100% Conor McGregor. So it has to be really meticulous. We were right there with the last one. As a unit, we do it, right? Let's go, let's go.
Have right now, the notorious one, right in front of us. Conor McGregor looking absolutely shredded. He looks in good shape. He's boxing. You always tell, I wonder if Conor wears that when he does the MMA sparring, or is he just focusing more on boxing? So he looks like he's in great shape. Obviously, Conor McGregor, last time we saw him in the octagon, he broke his leg against Dustin Poirier. So he's been out for a couple of years, living a big life on the yacht, selling the delicious Papa whiskey. Or here we go right here. So the one thing that I will say that Conor, that he, you know, if you look at his style from now to when he first fought, is he was way more, I felt, dynamic. What do I mean by dynamic? If you go back and watch his fights and his training that he used to do when he was coming up at 145, he was more about being a lot like back and forth and being lighter on his toes, throwing spinning stuff and looking for the shot. Now he seems to take this approach of being more stiff in his stance. You look when he fought Dustin Poirier the second time. The third time, he was a lot better. The second time when he fought Nate Diaz, he was a lot more stiff. It's almost like a shift in his style.
But I do think in this matchup, I think that Max Holloway is going to beat McGregor. I actually am going to pick him to finish McGregor. It's pretty well known now that McGregor didn't want this to be 5 rounds. He wanted it to be 3. So I think that McGregor could start hard. He could start fast. And maybe he could gas out over 5 rounds. He's at 170. McGregor's fought at 170 once. He's 5'9", guys. He's 5'9". He's not a big guy, okay? He's not a big guy. It's not like that McGregor's going to have this massive size advantage over Max Holloway. And the fact that Max Holloway is, what, minus 225 right now? I am fighting demons. I'm fighting demons to not put a great amount of money on Max Holloway money line, you know? Because I just think that this price is crazy. I think that the price sort of reflects like McGregor fans sort of trying to get him back in there. I feel like there's also like a little bit of concern in the back of everyone's head that we just saw Gaethje beat Ilia Topuria. This would be an upset of similar magnitude, even though the odds are close.
I think by now we know what we get out of Conor McGregor. He gasses out in probably 2 to 3 rounds. Gets a second win if he's able to get into the later rounds. But what I'm seeing is not convincing me that Conor McGregor's shape will be the right one for a man in Max Holloway who has the most weaponized pace in all of combat sports. What do I mean? The breakdown. Let's go. All right, so Conor McGregor was in Laguna Beach this week. No one told me. Everybody knows when you come to Orange County, you got to check in with the big boss. Hurt my shoulder a little bit doing that. Conor's current shape while walking on the beach in Laguna. Let's take a look. I mean, again, you know, he's outside of the balding hair, everything looks pretty solid. Obviously, you know, broad shoulders, the whole deal. Not cutting a ton of weight. He's probably about 180 pounds here, maybe a little more. I'm on my rest day today.
After so many years out of the octagon, it is clear that Conor McGregor is totally focused and ready to face the big challenge against Max Holloway. Pressure is huge since everybody wants to see if McGregor is really himself again after those years out of combat sports. Whether in gym training sessions or during tough sparring practices, it is evident that McGregor is willing to show the world that he is still the best.
some hell of a camp. He's taking one hell of a camp. And I get seriously fucking way better this camp. Keep Cameron, wallop people.
With a great deal of assurance, Artem Lobov predicted that Max Holloway was going to defeat Conor McGregor, considering his prediction was based on the theory that activity was the key. Lobov highlighted that McGregor had been inactive over the past 5 years from his last octagon appearance, but Holloway was consistently engaging in matches with high-level opponents in different weight classes. While the challenge of fighting at 170 pounds posed an element of doubt in the game, Lobov still felt that Max had the upper hand.
They're going to fight Charles Oliveira. And this fight's at 170 pounds. Which is scary, I think, in a little bit. But I'm picking Max Holloway to win this fight, by the way. Just before we get into anything, I'm picking Max Holloway to win the fight. And I'm picking Max Holloway to win the fight with very high confidence. And why is that? Conor McGregor has won one fight in 9 years. 9 years was the last time he won a fight that wasn't against Donald Cerrone. And even then, that was 6.5 years ago. And the last time he even stepped in the cage was 5 years ago. And in that time, what's Conor McGregor been doing? He's been assaulting old men. He's been assaulting women. He's been drinking. He's been in rehab. He's been probably doing other things. You know, if you guys have seen the live stream, which he's just absolutely off his face. And now he's going to be coming back at 38 years old. At 170 pounds, a weight class he's...
Lobov also did not believe that the style of wrestling used by McGregor in the initial bout should be relevant in the rematch. He admitted that Conor brought down Holloway on a number of occasions some years back, but made it clear that Max is an entirely different fighter now. He believed that the bout will stay standing and it will be the speed and boxing skills of Holloway that will prevail. Lobov believed that McGregor can do well in the beginning rounds, but will get tired after 5 rounds and get finished off by Holloway.
Max Holloway did get taken down 4 times by Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, to my understanding, only ever got 5 takedowns in his entire UFC career. 1 of them was against the GOAT Diego Brandao, who I mentioned earlier, and 4 of them were against Max Holloway. However, as I said, that was a 22-year-old Max Holloway, 21-year-old Max Holloway. You know, a lifetime has passed since then. And do you really think that in Conor McGregor's preparation for this fight, the guy that's a part owner of BKFC, do you really think that Conor McGregor's been doing his jiu-jitsu classes? Do you think he's been doing his wrestling classes? I highly doubt that. I think this is going to be a striking fight between 2 strikers, 2 guys that are going to keep it on the feet. And if anyone's going to be faster, if anyone's going to be sharper, if anyone's going to be quicker and faster are the same thing. But the point is, it's going to be Max Holloway. It's going to be the guy that's been fighting at the highest level for the last 5 years. He's been fighting some of the best guys. He beat Justin Gaethje over 5 rounds. He just beat Ilia Topuria, if you want to do some MMA math. He just beat Dustin Poirier, and Poirier...
According to Wade Plemons, one of the biggest things going against Max Holloway is the thing that most fans tend to forget about: years of beating up. He stressed the fact that Max Holloway had been in the octagon longer than any other athlete in the UFC, and eventually it has an impact on him. Considering the fact that Max will be fighting at 170 pounds, he asked himself if the durability of Max will stand against the powerful Conor McGregor. This issue is of greater significance than it is discussed by many.
He walks around, I'm sure, weighing like 175, 180, but without having that cut, it's a little bit of a different feeling there. Not to mention Max has, I think, got some of the longest time in the cage in the UFC currently right now. So that means accumulation of damage. That means wear and tear on the body, especially when your chin has been touched as recent as Max's has, as many times as it has, to take shots less efficiently, to have a bit of a weakened resistance to punches, kicks, and strikes. I think it's a major weakness we're not talking about with Max Holloway. In general, the longer you do a sport, the more it's going to wear you down, and especially when it's a combat sport, your chin just doesn't come back the same after taking that many big-time punches and strikes and kicks and everything else. Same with the rest of your body. So something to think about. I mean, Max even said he quit sparring hard because it was doing good for him, smart. It killed Michael Bisping's career, but it was doing him so bad because he'd hard spar and then get in for hard 5 rounds, his body can never recover.
In any case, Plemons brought it back to mind after listening to McGregor talk about the 8.5 hours spent by Holloway in the octagon. Even though there are plenty of people who view Max's work rate as being beneficial for him, Plemons thought that Conor made a very good point. As Plemons explained, the years of endless schedules of Holloway have also been his years of punishment, which is why it might be the final straw for him. It should be noted that even though Max's cardio is still top-notch, his body has been suffering from all the fights with guys like Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is what I told you guys a second ago. Conor is looking at Max. I mean, listen, we're all looking at Max and going, damn, Max has been active. Max has been in there with the best of the best right now and of the previous generation, and with Conor himself. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He hasn't had ring rust. He hasn't taken time off. He's just been there, and he showcased his ability to go up in weight from 45 to 55, now 55 to 70. But Conor's making good points. He's saying, listen, I look at Max, a guy that spent 8.5 hours in the octagon, and he's saying that tells him that Max can't get anybody out of there, which, you know, okay. At 55, Max looks like he has more pop in his hands than he did at 45, and how will that translate to 70? But what it tells me, and I think what it's saying to Conor that he's not quite giving up yet, is that Max has been in there taking damage, a lot of it, continuously for a very long time. And his body potentially could be wearing down. It could be that Max is not just reaping the benefits of being there for a long time, but also he is serving the consequences of said, especially, like I said, after the loss to Ilia Topuria. And honestly, even in the Charles Oliveira loss, it wasn't like Max was winning the stand-up in that fight.
Jorge Masvidal confessed that he did not know whether McGregor would come into the fight with his old game or his new one since it had been so long. He complimented him on his extensive experience and fight IQ, but wondered whether a man who has been out of top-level fighting for 5 years would just hop right back in there against an opponent like Max Holloway. He thought that while Conor's movements appeared to be on point in the videos, age, inactivity, and life outside of the cage might make him hard to choose. Nevertheless, he thought that he knew how big this fight was for him.
Hey, listen, I mean, I've seen a couple of videos of him, and he looked really good. Like his movement looked good. And you know, as you get older, your movement starts to not be what it used to be able to be. And, you know, you lose a little things as far as durability is concerned and stuff like that. But I feel like with him having the movement, him being a smarter fighter because he's been coaching and he's been out on the outside just watching, and you know, his analytical mind has been thinking about all kinds of stuff that he could do. So I'm sure he's a better fighter, but it's like fighting at a certain age, it's a mastery of being able to physically still be able to do it and mentally be able to put it all in there, and it has to sync up in order for it to work.
And not get injured throughout the process.
And not get injured.
Yeah, but then also too, he's rich. And he's rich. How do you wake up early in the morning, you're rich, you wake up early in the morning, and then have to listen to some guy telling you, hey man, you need to do more?
I know.
That's discipline.
Do you think he has it?
I wouldn't bet.
Masvidal was not worried about Holloway stepping up to 170 pounds. In this instance, Din Thomas pointed out that there is no need for Max to gain any additional mass since he is naturally more bulky. And this will only add up to his endurance and make him more durable, since cutting weight would be a very tough thing for him to do. And in Thomas's opinion, Holloway will simply stick to his usual rhythm without changing his game plan. But the one who made him nervous was McGregor, and Din said that Conor looks slower in the welterweight division than in the lightweight.
So how do you work that balance, right, between going up and still staying solid, but at the same time still being physically fit as you are at a lower weight class?
I think since they fought, I know it was a long time ago, at 45, you know, the strength, they're both going to be around the same strength department, and Conor's not going to go out there and grapple him. I know he did the first fight in the 3rd round, so I don't think Max is going to put on too much weight. I think he has a naturally slightly bigger frame. He's a little longer, he's a little taller. So I don't think he has to put on weight. I think he'll probably just be in great shape, good power like he always does, good endurance, just come in here and do his job, you know. I don't see him putting on like good amount of weight. You know?
I don't think he's going to put on weight. I think it's just a matter of him making sure that he keeps his calories up. Because he's the type of guy, especially being a volume fighter, he's probably going to train the same, throwing a lot of punches, doing a lot of rounds, and just making sure that he doesn't lose too much weight.
Right, that's going to be the hard part.
Yeah, just keeping his calories up, making sure he's eating more so that he can keep his calories up. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in.
James Lynch sees Max Holloway as the safer bet for the title rematch, but doesn't believe that the fight is going to be one-sided like a lot of people do. Lynch explains why shifting from featherweight to welterweight is beneficial for Conor, as he doesn't need to worry about the cut and can come into the cage in better shape. On the other hand, Lynch wonders whether the style of Max will work against Conor at welterweight, since Holloway hasn't fought at this division and doesn't look like an absolute finisher. Lynch also feels that Conor can do better than what people think due to the increased discipline and focus that he has shown recently compared to the past few years. Yet, at the end of the day, he still feels that age and inactivity are just too difficult for Conor to surmount. Given that McGregor is fighting after the longest hiatus in his career at the age of 37, Lynch believes that it is the experience of Holloway against tough competition, coupled with his speed and work rate, which will give him the decision win. Tim Welch compares both fighters' recent activity and momentum, stressing how active Holloway has been in elite matchups. He lists Holloway's recent opponents and performances, including wins and losses against top competition, highlighting how consistently he's been fighting compared to McGregor's inactivity. The key point he pushes here is activity versus ring rust. Holloway has stayed in the fire, fighting top contenders and staying sharp, while McGregor has been away for years. Welch also expresses excitement about seeing McGregor back, but quickly shifts into concern, questioning whether that long break will seriously affect his timing and durability. Welch brings in betting odds and early fight hype, noting Holloway as a heavy favorite while McGregor sits as the underdog. He mentions McGregor already talking trash, including his "I'm going to sun you" type of comments, while Holloway responds confidently, refusing to be disrespected. The discussion shifts into the fact that this fight is scheduled at 170 pounds, which Welch sees as a major factor. He questions McGregor coming off a 5-year layoff and immediately jumping into a 5-round main event against someone as durable and experienced as Holloway, suggesting this is not an ideal comeback scenario. Regardless of who the fans are backing in this matchup, there is no doubt about it that this could possibly be the biggest upset moment in the UFC in a long time. Conor McGregor has all the power, confidence, and knockout ability that got him to be the biggest name in combat sports today. On the other hand, Max Holloway continues to keep himself active and battle-tested by fighting some of the toughest opponents he can get his hands on. That is the reason why this is such an intriguing matchup. On one hand, Conor McGregor could pull off a huge shocker once again, but on the other hand, Max could just wear down McGregor in the 5 rounds and prove that he is better than McGregor. Whatever happens, the entire MMA community would certainly have their eyes glued to the fight when it eventually happens. Share your opinions in the comment section below. Who wins the fight and how does it happen?